Y'all, I got something for Mr. Robert. I got something for him. Because if he think that just because it's time to pay rent again, he's about to me, he got something coming for him. It's like, he's in my house right now. He's in my living room. Asked him to leave and he will not leave. But it's cool. It's cool. Stay there because now I have something to show your wife. Since you think you can use me, okay, cool. Because I may pay my rent late, but I still pay it.
Hey, beautiful.
Just a minute.
Hey, I've been out here a long time.
Hey, Mr. Robert.
Well, you know why I'm here.
Mr. Robert, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay, then you got the month's rent?
Can I just please have a little bit more time?
No, look, you know the...
You're almost the same age as my dad, and it makes me feel gross. Like, what if I was your daughter?
Hey, if you were my daughter, I'd be paying your rent if you were my daughter, so don't worry about that. Okay, let's figure it out. Have you really made up your mind about this? Because that's going to be it. Your ass is going to be out on the street.
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, you got 12 days to get the hell out of here. Because I'm not going to put up with this. See you later.
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? You know what? Forget showing his wife. We're going to tell the world. We're going to tell the world. We're going to show the world what kind of monster Mr. Robert really is. Like, I literally just lost my job 2 months ago. So it's not like I'm freeloading. And I do deliveries, but like, y'all know how that is. It's just not making ends meet. And I don't deserve to be slutted out just to have somewhere to lay my head, bro. Like, that shit is not cool. So, y'all, please help me spread the word about Mr. Robert.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. So today we are talking about landlords and issues with tenants. So guys, I want you to watch a video and let's talk about this. So I have a lot of experience as being a landlord. I've been a landlord for the last 10 years. And there is pros and cons to being a landlord. There is lots of expensive. Sometimes some years you have good years where you just have a smooth year with your tenant, and another time you can also have a tenant from hell. So the first clip with that creator, she was showing with her landlord that she was unable to pay her rent, and because she was unable to pay the rent, the landlord wanted to have with her. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are, especially because she's saying that even though she did that with the landlord, she still have to pay her rent. She just paid her rent late, which is insane. So basically he is sleeping with her for free, basically, because if she still have to pay her rent. So let's continue watching the video and I will come back in at the end and give my final thoughts. But especially here in Canada, landlord rights is so limited. I find once you give your tenant a key, you lose all control of your house. You can keep like an eye on the actual property, but when it comes to moving the tenant, if something goes wrong and stuff like that, it's very bad. In Toronto, it is even worse. Here in Nova Scotia, I had a tenant that was in my house that never paid for 3 months, and she was completely destroying the house, and I could not get her out the house. And she spray painted one of my room completely. I have a video on that. Actually, I'll link it in my in my description box so you could see it. She completely destroyed my house. It took my husband and myself 6 months to build that house back up. So as I said, I have a lot of experience of being a landlord.
Story time on how my crazy, cheap landlord ruined our home by drilling holes in it. And yes, I do mean inside. We've been living here for over 5 years, so his cheapness isn't anything new to us. Every time there's a repair needed for the house, he wants us to come out of pocket. And when he do decide to make an appearance, he comes alone. He's not bringing a professional, and he's DIYing everything. And you know what? There was a time he did actually get an electrician to come out. That man told us the wiring in the house was horrible, and it was a fire hazard to be living there. We never saw him or another electrician again. After all that, you would think we learned our lesson, but at the end of the day, this is this man's house. So we did call him again when we had another plumbing issue. And this time, he really went for it. Now the plumbing has been an issue. I'm talking kitchen and a bathroom not usable at all. But you still couldn't prepare us for the day he pulled up with a jackhammer and a dream. 30 days and 30 nights of drilling holes. He was finding pipes, but I guess it just wasn't the ones he was looking for. It got to the point where it got so bad, the house was deemed unlivable by a professional. And I mean, duh. There's kids living in our home. We're breathing in God knows what. And there's multiple holes. That's the perfect fit for my 2-year-old nephew all over the house. Why would it be livable? This started in our home, right in the entryway. And to this day, we passed over there. To this day, they are still digging. They are now in the backyard, still looking for whatever pole this was. But since then, we moved into our new spot. We're still getting settled in, but stay tuned while we turn our new house into our new home.
Hi, Katie. It's me.
Oh, hello.
Hi. I know this is a little bit short notice, but this weekend, I was wondering, would you be able to move out? I've got some friends coming and I need the house.
What?
Is that okay?
No.
Why?
I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this, but as my landlord, I'm your tenant and I live here.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but it's just for the weekend. It's just I've got some friends coming and I need the house.
Can they not stay with you in your house?
No, it's not ideal, really. My house isn't big enough and they've got kids, so I need this house. This is my house, isn't it? So I just thought it'd be all right for you to move out for the weekend. I'll put you up in a hotel.
No, you pay mortgage on this house, but I live in this house, as in I pay rent to you every month to live in this house. You can't just tell me to go because your friends are coming.
Yeah, I get that. You pay the rent and stuff, but, like, maybe I can cancel a week's rent and put you up in a hotel?
No!
I just thought that, Why?
Because
I don't understand.
I don't need to inform you of my plans, but I'm sorry, I can't just leave my house on a moment's notice. I've got things to do. I'm not going, sorry.
Well, it's put me in a bit of a difficult situation, really, because my friends are coming, and I just thought with this being my house, I have the right to allow them to stay.
No, babe, I don't think that's in the contract or, like, tenancy agreement.
Well, I thought you'd be all right about it. It's just you here, isn't it? And I'll put you up in a hotel down the road. It'll be nice. I thought you'd be actually quite happy about it.
Why would I be happy about my landlord telling me to get out for the weekend just so my friends can stay? That's ridiculous.
I just thought, me being a nice landlord and stuff, and I just thought you'd be able to do me the favour.
No, favours don't work like that. So you're not running a B&B. This is a house that I'm paying rent for. So, no, I'm sorry. You're going to have to sort yourself out.
I get that you pay rent, but at the end of the day, like, I own the house, so therefore, like, it's
I
mine.
pay rent in the house. No, just put him in a B&B or something. It's not my problem.
But at the end of the day, when your contract runs out,
No,
I
sorry.
could have
Can you leave, please? Can you leave, please?
So as I was saying before, my landlord rudely interrupted me. I get home from work and we're sitting there talking because he's weird. He keeps coming upstairs to talk to me. So we're sitting there talking and he's like, so I noticed that that was disgusting. I'm embarrassed by that. He's like, so I noticed that you take trazodone. Is that for your anxiety? Like, you just casually noticed the medications that I take. Like, it was the weirdest thing ever. That's just not even the beginning of how, well, that was the beginning, but it's not the end of how creepy he is. So stay tuned if you want to hear more creepy landlord stories.
Okay, comments like this literally like drive me insane. Okay, my entire life, and I'm sure so many people can relate to this, my entire life, every single time I have brought something to someone's attention or tattled on somebody, that's exactly what they said I was doing. Oh, you're just tattling. Oh, you're doing this for attention. You're overreacting. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Genuinely, like right now, what am I supposed to do? The best thing I can do is just try not to freaking panic. Like,
I mean, I knew that it was creepy. I knew that it was weird, but like I didn't realize it was this big of an issue until like 24 hours ago. Okay, and still I have no clue what to do. Like, yeah, I can get the door jams or whatever you guys are telling me to get, and I probably will get some, but like as of right now I can't do anything. And as for, you know, 2 weeks ago I thought I was being crazy. Okay, you guys are like literally scaring me right now. Like, I know that he's creepy, but now I'm like legitimately terrified. To address a few things, I cannot add or change the locks on my door because legally he has to have a copy of the key so that he can get into the room for like emergency or whatever. You guys keep telling me to look for cameras. I don't see any cameras, but I don't know how to look. Like, I don't know, are they small enough to like fit like somewhere where I can't see them? And then I do have a camera. It's on my books down there. Down there in that corner. So I have a camera in my room, and he knows that. I've told him before, and I have caught him on my camera a few times, but it costs money to like record and save the footage, so I wasn't paying for it. So I actually like started paying for it today because you guys were freaking me out. But yeah, I've seen him on my cameras. Okay, I've been getting a lot of comments like this one, and I just want to say that like I've known that he's been kind of weird, and a little bit creepy, but I didn't realize that, like, I just thought that that's what happened when you, I don't know, I really don't know. Like, I've only ever lived with my parents, my brother, and my best friend. Like, I've never had like a legit landlord before, and I didn't know that that was like actually really weird until I posted these, well, until yesterday when I was telling my whole family about it, and they're like, dude, that's weird. So then I was like, oh, I should make a TikTok series about the weird shit my landlord does. Like, I didn't realize that it was like that big of a deal. And I got a few other comments saying that like sometimes it's allowed if I signed a lease, saying that it was allowed for him to come in. So I asked him for a copy of the lease. So we'll see, but sorry. Okay, another creepy thing that my landlord does. So I used to date this dude, and this dude was having sleepovers, because that's what people do. So my landlord was like, hey, you need to ask permission if someone's sleeping over. And I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, I started to ask permission when this dude would sleep over. Well, then this dude and I broke up, and so my sister started sleeping over quite often. So every single day I'd ask him, like, is it okay if my sister sleeps over? And then the other day I asked him, I was like, hey, can my sister sleep over? And he said, no, not tonight. I like to keep sleepovers to a minimum. And I was like, why? And he says, that's a good question. And I said, but why? And then he says, LOL. My parents got really mad at me for not getting mad at him for that one. I thought that was just a thing. I don't know. So, yeah.
Okay. So she just said she had some information and she had to have a conversation with you. So we're just standing by while you have that conversation.
I spoke to the law firm again. You do need to pay the prorated rent and storage. There is no getting around that. So the only thing you can take today is what you specifically need for work. I know you work at home, and I actually happen to know you don't work very much.
Okay, we don't need to add.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying she's going to say things like she needs it for work. I've spoken to Carlisle Travel, and that's not what happens. So she forged all of her documents.
Okay, so time out.
Yeah. Okay.
Time out.
All right. So
I need to get my stuff for my daughter.
This is a civil issue. Okay. I'm going to just intercede at this point because I'm not going to have any more.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
This is a civil issue.
Yes.
We are here to stand by to keep the peace while the property is collected.
Okay.
If there are more monetary things or fines or
Any of that. So just
that's
outside of us.
Right. So she must pay me before she removes things today. So if you're not going to pay, I need to ask you to leave. Yes, I have it right here.
But the court told me yesterday that's not true.
Yes, it is. So, yes.
And I'm agreeing, we can get out here within 30 minutes. I'm not going to.
There's a lot more than 30 minutes of stuff in here. So, well, Jennifer, I sent you the statement. I sent you the statement.
What statement?
Is there basic property in there that you need for
Absolutely. You'll see when you
work,
yeah,
and
and all that
furniture?
stuff. Yes.
Okay.
And my like just bathroom like hygiene. This is
No.
all I've had.
No. Bathroom hygiene is not allowed. Only work equipment. For example, if she. So are you telling me that you are holding her property?
Yes, by law, I am holding her property until she pays me for moving and storage in full. Okay, a tenant does not have any right of access to the property until the actual removal and storage costs have been paid in.
That's this property, not her physical own
No,
stuff that
this
she
is
owns.
okay. Moving and storage, that's her property. Okay, she does not have any. I'll read above it so you can see. Okay, the landlord shall hold the tenant's personal property for a period of 14 calendar days after landlord takes possession of the dwelling unit. That was August 29th when she was evicted by the constable and the police. The landlord shall use reasonable care in moving and holding the property, which we did. Okay. We personally did it, and I hired 2 people to help us with the heavier items. If the landlord holds the property and she makes no effort to recover, I may donate the property. If the landlord sells the property, I retain proceeds to cover my costs. Give her what's left over. If a tenant does not have right of access to that property until the actual removal and storage costs have been paid in full, except the tenant may obtain clothing and tool apparatus and books of a trade and profession. So if she needs a work uniform or her computer for work.
Can I see where you're getting this from?
It's the Tenant Landlord Act. I've sent it to you multiple times.
Does that sound by a judge, ma'am?
It's the law. This is the Arizona law. Okay.
But is it signed by the courts? Is it signed by a judge?
Anything that is, you are not a cop, okay?
Can we at least start getting her work stuff?
Hold on.
While we're here.
While you're here. And that is all she can get. And that is her computer.
I can get my clothing and then
It says work clothing. You just
work clothing. This is her work clothing.
Then she needs to get her clothing.
I need to get my
that means you're not taking dresses.
Ma'am, you're not going to sit here and say that.
Hold on.
I am.
And she needs, and I've got a supervisor coming. He's going to have a conversation with you. Okay.
How about anxiety pills? Can she get anxiety pills?
She can have her
Medication would be good. I mean, that's reasonable, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, if you plan on putting this on the internet, I will sue you.
That is not.
She's just. We're recording.
Thank you.
He's recording.
Thank you.
It's the same
That's fine.
thing.
We're all.
She lies about everything. Everything.
So can you?
I'm going to have you go back inside.
Open the garage and let her get her work stuff.
I'd like to supervise that. She is not to take anything else. No kitchen items. Nothing, Jennifer. This is the law.
I moved my bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
Let's put that down so we don't. I don't want anyone getting mad. Let's.
Okay.
Order to stay inside the residence. If you come out, you will be arrested.
Okay, Yvonne, here are the keys.
Oh, thank you, Joey.
Paralegal Joy Rizzuto inclined Yvonne Folks. 11 months after her tenant stopped paying rent, she's finally been able to move back into her house and get her life back.
We were at the point where we almost lost the house because we have to pay the mortgage while he's in the house, not paying rent, not paying utilities.
In May, we first reported on Folks' plight, which began when she gave her tenant legal notice to leave this Brampton house, but he wouldn't go.
Financially stressful.
Financially stressful, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. Like, it was just hard.
When people decide that they're going to float the rules on the other side, they can drag it out, right?
If someone knows what they're doing, they do have the ability to delay the process.
Which is what we found in the spring.
You cannot record me.
Okay. Global News, it's television.
I don't care.
Folks was in a battle with tenant Herman Funyapi, living here with his family.
It's just a liar. That's what he is.
The tenant owns a trucking company and drives a shiny new truck, but the landlord-tenant system afforded him a lot of time during which he didn't pay.
He used some tactics to delay this hearing. Unfortunately, everything that he did use was given to him by the landlord-tenant board.
The presence of police at the door made no difference. But why did you refuse to leave?
But I'm not to leave because why I have to leave?
It sounds like you know the system.
Of course. Why I don't know? It's normal. I have to know.
The system is working for him.
Yeah, they're using
and it's working against me.
Finally, Folks and her husband got an eviction order, and the troublesome tenant moved out. He owes $32,000 in back rent, something that will be hard to collect under the current system.
I think it needs to change a lot.
Now, Herman Funyapi, the tenant in this case, runs this trucking company. We came here to offer him the opportunity to speak to us, to give his side of the story. He declined, saying he didn't trust us based on our previous reporting. He acknowledged, though, he owes that $32,000, said he has some other landlord and tenant board issues with the landlord, but in fact said he would pay if he was compelled to. Sean O'Shea, Global News.
You've got a screwdriver because this board needs coming off.
Are you being serious?
I've told you before.
You can't take the washing machine.
Of course I can. It's my washing machine. Look, I told you about how much you're using it. Do you know
No,
what my bills
we
are?
need the washing machine.
James, you need to have a word. I need to take this out.
No, because you're being really unreasonable. A washing machine, we can't use the washing machine.
Well, no, because you're using it too much. I've warned you before. My bills are skyrocketing, right?
Yeah, and so are ours.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to use a laundrette or something, aren't you? Because I need to take this out now.
No,
I told
you're not taking it. We've already unplugged this.
Mind out the way.
Why don't you expect us to wash our clothes in the sink?
If needs be, I'll try a laundrette like anybody else. This is mine, and it's coming to...
No, we're paying for this, so it's ours. It's not yours as well.
What do you mean you're paying for it so it's yours? It doesn't make it yours. You're
You
renting the
said
space.
in the contract it was inclusive bills.
Yes, and it is. And what else does it say in my contract? It says with reasonable use. Now that's not reasonable use what you've been using. It's part of you.
Taking it, no, read.
You must be washing every day.
Really not. Really not.
I don't know how two people can have so many clothes. I want my washing machine and it's coming with me
You're
today.
being absolutely ridiculous. Like, we're just trying to live. The price of everything's gone up, and now you expect us
Look,
to...
I've told you.
Don't. Why are you being aggressive now?
I'm not being aggressive.
You are, and you're trying to take the washing machine.
Because it's my washing machine.
Never back again.
But you said I have a legal right to have a guest here.
You do have a legal right to have a guest here. And I have a legal right to say, give your notice, because you said you're already giving notice, and I want it in writing,
absolutely.
and he is not allowed in here.
But you said I'm allowed to have guests.
Sure, call the police and I'll show them this.
I never said I was going to call the police. What? Why would I call
the police would allow a Trinity Christian student have something like this in here? Is that yours or is it his?
This is so inappropriate.
Who it belongs to?
I guess it's mine. I'm a pagan. Ooh, witches and stuff.
Yeah, let's make fun.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture of you making fun. Let's say that again. I'm sure I can get it to your dad. Let's make another story like that. I would love to find out
Here,
where
Daisy,
and
go
when
inside.
you're going to do all of this, okay?
Here.
Yeah,
Okay.
take care of your dog because they use them in rituals.
It's fine.
Never back.
I think it's... Why are you
Locking
yelling?
all doors. Because this is not what I expected of you.
Okay.
I need...
This is pretty intense.
I was fixing it. Yes, you tell me what's intense about this.
I just don't
Take a picture.
I
You
think
wanna
it's
take a picture?
I think
Take a
it's
picture.
really inappropriate that you're looking through all our stuff.
It fell over. Okay, I'm moving this
That's
over
really
here. It fell over.
inappropriate.
You can see it's fallen over.
Jeez Louise.
I'm not going through your stuff. It fell over, and I'm trying to repair this and move that chair that's in that doorway. It won't come through.
I really wish you would stop yelling at me right now. This is really inappropriate.
You know what's inappropriate is this? Get your pen out and start writing. It's called giving notice.
Okay, but I need to give you 30 days
You
notice.
need to give me as much notice as you need to, but make sure he does never enter this house again.
You really need to relax right now.
I do not believe
You're
in
making me
paganism.
really uncomfortable. Why are you
locking
yelling?
all doors.
Alright guys, it's time. I'm going to share with you guys everything that my landlord has done to my partner and I since we moved in a year ago, like exactly a year ago. And so that I don't get frazzled through all the craziness, I wrote it down. And I'm going to try and cover this in one part, but if I can't, I will immediately post the second part. Everything that I'm going to say to you has receipts, and I will show you as much as I can fit. There is nothing that I'm going to tell you that can't be proven by voicemail, video, text, statement, whatever. But first I'm going to give you a little backstory, which is just that we had to move in February of last year because the building we were living in got sold and we got bought out of our lease, and we tried to get it later in the year, but they wanted to demolish the building and build a new one, so they said by February. Which we live in Chicago, so that is not a great time to be moving, and our choices were super limited, plus we have a dog and a car and we need to be somewhat near downtown. So we had very little choices, and we found one place that worked, and that was the place that I'm going to call apartment number 1. It gets so much worse. Okay. When we toured the place, we were told by the real estate agent that the downstairs neighbors, the basement neighbors, because we were apartment 1 in building 1, the basement neighbors were not friendly, but that they'd be leaving by the end of March or something. But we were like, oh, okay, they're not friendly, but like, we don't have to be friends to live in a building, you know? That was lie number 1. We also had to sign a 2-year lease. The landlord would not budge on this, and that really fucking sucks, but we had no options. Also, I'm going to lay it out now. Trigger warning. All the stuff I'm going to show you varies in degrees of violence and verbal assault. And if you are not in the headspace for that, don't watch this or save it to watch later, because I'm going to try and bleep stuff out, but it's bad. We were also told that the landlord was a super nice lady and that the previous tenants in our same apartment, so we rented apartment number 1, we were told that they left that apartment and were moved over to her other building because the guy wanted to brew beer at home. So the apartment we were looking at was a 2-bedroom, and the one that she graciously moved them in was a 3-bedroom, and they did that voluntarily for fun. Lie number 2. The first day we moved in, the basement neighbors came and knocked on our door. And I said, open the door, and I introduced myself, and he said, hi, my name is, and then he said, do you know the deal? And I was like, no, I don't know the deal. He goes, well, we have a newborn baby, and you're being loud. This is the move-in day. Truck is parked out front. They can see through their window that we are bringing stuff in. I didn't even register that there was another person outside pacing. It was his son that ends up being the biggest problem later. Literally, they were so pissed, and I was like, we're moving, we can be quiet by the evening, but it's a 12 p.m. on a Saturday, like, we're moving and it's going to be loud, but we can be quiet by the evening. He was somewhat satisfied with that and went inside, but it was already weird. Turns out that it's a family of 5 living in a basement unit. That's probably 2 bedrooms. We never saw the inside, but thankfully, but it's a grown man, his wife, his adult son who's 23, who we're going to call Junior, and then a 9-year-old girl and a newborn baby. It also turns out that through the ventilation system, it had floor vents, we can hear absolutely everything that they do, and they can hear absolutely everything that we do. We made it 2 weeks. The second weekend, we were unpacking, and the cops knocked on our door. Turns out they had filed a noise complaint. It was again a Saturday at like 2 p.m. and we opened the door and the cops were like, hey, we got a noise complaint, but we don't hear anything from the outside. What's going on? And we're like, we're literally moving. We're just setting up furniture and like putting shelves up and we're moving in. And the cop was like, yeah, that's no problem. Spoiler alert, the cops would be called in the 2 months we lived there 14 times. Not an exaggeration. 14 times. I kept track. Turns out the adult son, Junior, is extremely mentally ill and does not take medicine, refuses it. And we think that the mom also had some form of something and was not taking medicine either because she was breastfeeding or was pregnant. So there was 2 unmedicated people with no job that were there 24/7, and they would either explode on each other and it would go horribly wrong, or they would explode on us. They started beating on the floors and screaming out threats and curses through the vents. I'm going to show you the mugshot of the son, and then I'm going to show you some of the sound problems. Keep in mind, we were never told that they were criminally violent people or that they would immediately start harassing us. I'm going to show you this mugshot, not to make fun of him, but to show to you that it was very evident that he had a mental illness and that he had a criminal record. Sound warning for this. This is the mom screaming at the son as he breaks trash in the back hallway. This is in our apartment that I'm recording this. In this next part, you can see her yelling at him to stop scaring her baby, and then you can also hear us breathing in fear. This is what he would do all through the night. All night. So I have tons more videos. They also verbally abused each other. I can't show that one because the language is really, really profuse. I don't know if that's the right word. It's really, really bad. He calls his mom the C word, calls her lowlife, wishes that her mom was dead, wishes that she was dead. Everyone's calling each other names, and these videos are from like 2 or 3 in the morning from our Ring camera. We also have the video of him being arrested, which I'll show in here as well. I'll try and show pictures and stuff too, but he gets arrested like a few times. But the thing is, we have a whole video of the police have a conversation where he's obviously mentally unwell, so they either just take him to the grandparents' house, which is nearby, or they take him and let him cool off for a couple hours, and then he's right back. He's never gone for long stretches. I was granted an order of protection, and the crazy story with that is my landlord's husband actually took me to the courthouse to get it. However, when they asked me to do this, they asked me to bring evidence that showed that they abused the children in the house by verbally being like abusive around each other, like it was a hostile environment basically. So the night before, I saved a bunch of videos that showed how unsafe it was for children to be there, and then they took me to the domestic abuse courthouse. And I was like, what am I don't really know what I don't know how any of this works. I'm terrified and I just want protection. And the guy, the husband, doesn't really speak that great of English, and so he just tosses me to the wolves basically. And I fill out forms and they're like, well, this isn't your ex. And I was like, no, but we live in the same building, does that count? And they're like, honestly, yeah, we'll take it, because obviously you need help, you look upset. So then we go through the process. I do this alone, and I take off work to do this. I sat through 4 hours of women and a young man telling the most horrific and traumatizing abuse stories of their ex that they can't get rid of. And when I tell you I was trembling, and that was one of the most traumatic experiences, to hear like a 15-year-old talking about what her ex-boyfriend did to her and that he wouldn't leave the house. It was horrible. And then I approached the judge and I showed the one video. I had a bunch, and I just showed her the one video of him breaking things in the back stairwell that's on here, screaming at each other. And she said, you're recording that from inside your apartment? And I said, yes. And she said, granted, order of protection, emergency order of protection is granted. Take it, get out of here, be safe. And the funny thing is, he violates it pretty quickly, obviously, and the cops at that point in time basically were like, that's crazy that you got this, you live in the same building. I was like, I know, but the point is not that he's like approaching me on the street, it's that he's being crazy. Anyway, I just want to say DCFS, which is the Chicago version of Child Protective Services, was called supposedly by the landlord. One lady came out, knocked on our door once, and none of us were home, and then she just left and then never came back. And I constantly wonder what those children are up to now, because there's no way that they're in a safe place. He violates the order of protection immediately. I'll show that video by throwing rocks in my window when I'm home alone one day. The police came, and I have a bunch of videos of them telling me, well, he's obviously in special situations and we can't really take him in. Also, he wasn't served the order of protection, so he technically didn't violate it. And so he sat on the porch and he called me the most vile, disgusting things in front of these police officers. He kept calling me disgusting and that he was going to sue me, and he obviously had a mental breakdown on these steps. They did not arrest him. They did not arrest him when he was drinking on the porch and offering him beers, the police beers, and trying to get them to drink it. I just want to point out that I'm fully aware it's not the landlord's fault that she had a criminally violent person in her house, because the guy was under 18 when he first moved in, and then so he didn't get a background check to an adult, and obviously it got worse, so she didn't know that. However, we found out she was fully aware that he was going to harass and verbally assault us many, many times, because it had already happened. But I'll get to that. So I got the order of protection. It was violated immediately. Cops didn't care, weren't really able to do anything. I was completely shocked. We continued to call the police back and forth when they were beating on floors and playing music loud in the morning. Our mental health was going down the drain. We couldn't handle it anymore. And then finally, when he threw rocks at my window, I texted my landlord and I said, you need to let us go. You need to either let us go or move us into your other building that you had done with your other tenants, because we were hoping that there's an open place. Turns out that building, that other building she has, is right next door. She didn't mention that in the beginning. She just said she had another building and she sort of gestured, but the reality is it's right next door. Now remember, our only two options were to pay for an entire move, do another deposit again, do the whole search again, or move right next door for free basically, and she said she would help pay for the move. She actually said she would pay for the move, but then later on she said she would just help pay for the move. Whatever, we were desperate. We were like, give us the keys, you don't even have to clean the apartment that was just vacated. We're just gonna run in there, like, please just give us the keys, we cannot handle this, we cannot live here anymore. The day that we moved out of that old apartment, I just hired like movers and I was like, can you bring 4 guys, grab our stuff and throw it in an apartment next door? I want this done as quickly as possible. The day that happened, she left me a voicemail literally saying, ha ha ha, look, they're moving. You were too eager to move. Look, they've got a moving truck. They're leaving. She thought the moving truck that we hired was those crazy neighbors moving. No, it was our moving truck. And she left a voicemail being like, haha, I told you should have waited. What the? So we move over, we get about a week of peace, and then he violates the order of protection again in our new address. And he does this by threatening to pew my fiance when he was playing loud music outside of his window, which still affected us because we're right next door. So my fiance recorded him playing loud music. The guy saw him, Junior, saw him recording, and then threatened to kill him, called him the hard N-word. I literally cannot show this video. I have it all, but I can't show this video. It's... They call us horrible names, threaten to kill him. We call the police, show him the video, and they're like, "Oh well, that is a pretty clear violation, but you have to go file the paperwork." What? They don't arrest him. We say, "Fine, whatever. Give us the case number." We get the case number from the phone call. Take off work the next day to file the paperwork. During this time, oh, that's her name, has said she started the eviction process, but due to COVID, it takes up to 6 months to have the eviction bid. So we moved in March, and she started the process in April, and we couldn't make it. So we got May 1st, we couldn't do this anymore. That's when we moved to the other apartment. But the eviction process had actually officially been started, whereas legally before, she just sort of had them promise that they would move out, but they're not. They're absolutely crazy. So now that that process was actually going, I was trying to constantly get updates for her. She would not give me updates. I would beg for them. I was like, are they leaving yet? We've had another harassment problem. They sprayed mustard on our back door. They would like throw stuff on our side of the fence in the backyard. It was just like insane. Oh, also in the new building, we got to meet our upstairs neighbors, which was the couple that she said left because they wanted to brew beer. No. Turns out they left for the same exact reasons. They too were getting harassed and verbally assaulted by those neighbors. So she had literally had this happen, moved these people over, put us in that apartment. She waited about 5 months before she moved us in, which if she had started the eviction process when they scared out the first couple, if she had started it then, they would have been evicted by the time we moved in. No problem. There would have been 0 problems. But because she didn't start the actual process until we complained and we said we cannot survive this, then they were there for an extra 6 months. We trauma bonded with that upstairs couples. We're still friends now, and we have their statements of what they went through. Then we find out that we got a letter in the mail saying they reject our claim of violation of the order of protection. They rejected it and said there wasn't enough evidence. Thanks, Chicago! Oh, also, here's some 1-star reviews of her restaurant. That's the little fun fact I forgot to tell you guys. She owns 4 buildings on one corner. 2 of them are apartments. One of them is an old abandoned, well, not abandoned. It used to be a bar. She doesn't use it. The other one is a restaurant. Well, the restaurant has high ratings. 99% of their 1-star reviews are about her being a horrible person. I'll show you those. There's this one. Just pause to read because I'm going to show you a bunch. This one. She hates everyone except people that look like her, of course, and doesn't like to give you your money, which, I mean, it's literally horrible. Here's more. Here's more. More. Racist. Anti-Semitic. I mean, she's just awful. Problem is, her overall rating is high, but she just keeps the facade up for a short amount of time. If you don't look like the way she likes you to look, then you get this service. Alright, go to part 2. Okay, I had to get home from work, but here's part 3 and the final part to this whole saga of reasons why my landlord is awful and the reasons why we have to take her to court. And believe it or not, everything I've just told you is not really the main reason why we're taking her to court, because there's one last kick in the face that she does. So I left off with the reviews of her diner. The 1-star reviews of her diner are all about her being a horrible person. So my partner and I left apartment number 1 at the end of April, and then moved to apartment number 2, which is where I'm at now, in May, the beginning of May. Moved in relatively quickly after the tenants that lived here moved out. We were desperate. I literally told her, you don't even have to clean it. Like, please just give me the keys. Like, I have, again, all this in text. Like, you can either let us go or give us the keys here. And then if you give us the keys here, please give it quickly. Like, we need to just do this. We need to leave. So as soon as we left, that basement unit started harassing the rest of the building and putting threatening notes anywhere that they could, because the basement unit was there, and then the first floor was empty, and then the second floor had a couple. And this is a note they left for the couple. Obviously, I had to block off some cuss words, but like they're just, what a weird insult. And that was the garage door, which is a separate building. Like, I wrote that note just for the upstairs neighbors because they were the only ones that had access to it. So like they were specifically targeting them. And then our landlord graciously rented out our vacant apartment in building number 1 again, even though she had just had 2 sets of tenants harassed out of that apartment. She rented it out again in July, and they started getting harassed immediately by the basement people. This is them writing like "stay in your lane," a schmiede-schmile thing over here. They're crazy. They also sprayed mustard on our door. Well, this is our new apartment like side, and that's the old apartment side, and they sprayed mustard on our door. So finally, at the end of August, they left on their own. The eviction process had happened, and instead of waiting to sheriffs like dragged them out, they left on their own. And we literally, everyone who had been affected by them, we sat on our porch, opened a bottle of champagne, and watched them move, and they were like fighting amongst each other, but it was like huge like victory. So then September through December was relatively calm with like the home life situation, but that is travel season, so we were traveling a lot, and my family is from Florida and Little Rock, and then his family, my fiance, his is also Florida, so there was quite a bit of time we were gone. But a little fun tidbit is they got evicted and of course couldn't find a place to stay because eviction, so they moved in with someone's grandparents. I don't know if it was the mom or the dad's grandparents, but they're still in this neighborhood. So in that time, Peter, my fiance's brother, came, and they were walking in the apartment, and apparently they drove by and like cussed them out as they were driving by. So the basement people are somewhere around here still, and know where we live, and know where my car is parked on the street, and like we still see them off there. So we're not free of them yet. And then in January, my family's house burns down, and my mom slips and falls and breaks her leg and needs surgery. I don't need to make this more dramatic than it already is. To fly down to Florida and deal with a lot of that, and like a lot of my like just stuff was gone, and like everything I left there. It was very chaotic. So then comes March. Oh, also Peter's brother and sister-in-law gave birth to twins in February. So it was just a big, busy stretch between eviction and now. And I bring that up to say we didn't notice one awful thing happening. So during this time that we have been at apartment number 2, we still have been sort of harassed by her. Like, she would text me about the back door being open, which the back door is a communal door we all use, but I was the only one that she was saying, like, I pay for the heat, which she doesn't. We pay $50 a month for heat, but she was threatening, like, you don't pay for the heat, you're leaving that door open on purpose. And I was like, the door's broken, first off, and then everybody else in the building uses it as well, so don't harass me about it. And then the last little like tick that she did that I stopped replying was she asked why the back stairwell light was on, but the back stairwell is enclosed. There's only a small window, and we have a small black dog, so we keep the light on, and we're in Chicago, so it's winter, which means most of the time it's dark, so we keep that light on. And she was basically like, why is this light always on? So in March, my fiance and I started talking about finances and saving up for a house and a wedding and all that stuff. And when that talk happened, my fiance mentioned that he was really struggling with the electric bill, which was $350 to $400 a month. And I was like, I know we're talking about future stuff, but what did you just say? Quick Google search and a quick text to my upstairs and downstairs neighbors. They don't pay more than $50, and she actually downstairs, they pay $50 just utilities flat to our landlord, and then upstairs they've never paid more than like $13, $20, $50 at most, and one of them is a flight attendant. Turns out when I texted the basement neighbor, she was like, actually the previous people that lived here, which was 3 girls, found out that their meter, there's only 2 meters on this entire building, their meter pays for 70 to 80% of this entire building, including the washer and dryer, storage, garage, back stairwell, and the entire basement unit. So for the 10 months that we have been here, we have been paying, it was set to auto pay, and like my fiance, through like everything I just listed, we just didn't fucking notice. We were just trying to survive. But yeah, we had an electrician come out, which we paid for, and do a statement. I'm going to show that here. Literally does the diagnostic that basically we pay for absolutely everything, basically. There's like probably 1 or 2 light bulbs and maybe like the front half of this apartment upstairs that we don't pay for. And that was it. Our trust snapped completely, and we couldn't do this anymore. We could not believe in her. She had literally also put rat poison in the backyard because the backyard's infested with rats. She didn't tell us, and we have a dog, and I came out one night and there was a rat that had died right by the back door and died by poison because it had spit up bodily fluids all over it. And if you don't believe me, I'll happily go take a picture of the rat because it's still there. I just pushed it off to the side. So if anyone wants to do like a poison analysis, then that's fine. So she's like just an awful human being, and she treats us horrifically, and this was the last thing. So we texted her a list of demands, and the list of demands stated we want our money back for all the bills we paid, and there's no way to separate our amount from it because it's so much of the building. We want our laundry money back because we've been paying for the washer and dryer. It costs us in quarters $3.50 to do each load of laundry, and we're paying for the electricity of it. And there was a point in time when the building next door's washer and dryer broke, so the building next door was also using our washer and dryer. So we paid like $550 or something. We just averaged it out for each month to do our own laundry, basically, like to use our own washer and dryer in the entire building as well. So we asked for the bill money back, the coin money back, and the electrician cost, which was $150 to get him out. And then we also went about $1,000 to move because we can't, this lady's psychotic and she's ruined it. So I got in contact with the 3 girls that lived here before to see if they made her aware of the problem, and they did. They also made her aware of a gas leak that was never addressed in any form or fashion. They found out when their lease was already about to be up, so they just moved, but one of them is like ready to go. So that is why we're taking her to small claims court. It ends up not even being that much money. It ends up being like $4,000, which for her is like nothing for the amount she's been making. And the reality is we asked for a settlement first. We sent her that list and just said, if you just pay us this, we'll just like leave quietly and I won't pursue anything. And she completely ignored us. Twice. We texted twice to follow up and said plain and clear, if you ignore this and don't respond, we're going to take that as a no and pursue legal action. And she completely ignored us. But she did go and put motion sensor light bulbs in the back stairwell now. So instead of being on all of the time for our safety, it just sort of flashes on when you're already sort of like half falling down the stairs. So that's where we're at now. I've been wanting to tell you guys about this for so long, and this last thing just broke me, but we are pursuing this legally, but you just gotta know the hot goss, and let me know if I missed anything. I have so much more videos too, so I could share it all. Here's a montage of boop. Wish me luck. Wish us luck. I just want to leave. Okay.
So guys, after watching the video, what are your thoughts? There is so many issues with a lot of these landlords and their tenant, and it is scary to watch some people have a confrontation with their landlords like that. I have never done that. If I have a problem, I send an email and then we can talk about it. That's what I usually do. And as I said, I have 3 tenants that still owes money for the house that I rent. So actually now I stopped renting long term and rent it as Airbnb. So the thing is, in Canada there's lots of homelessness right now, and it is because of home shortage and because a lot of people are doing Airbnbs. But as I said, I refuse to do long-term rental because people damage your house so badly, and then on top of that, it is a long process to get that person out your house. So I stopped renting long-term, but the rent prices has gone up of really high in the last 4 years. So there's pros and cons to it. I choose not to do long term anymore because it's very difficult to get people out your house. So let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video.